So
Okay.
we're starting. Everybody go ahead, Kelsey.
Okay, so you guys, I'm just going to kind of walk you through how I use OneNote and how I set up my units. It was really, we got thrown into it at Sky Ranch with all the one-to-one technology, so it was kind of a learning process all along, and I discovered that I'm in love with OneNote because it's everything in one place, and it's a virtual binder for the kids. They're not shuffling through papers. It's all there, and they can go back and look at stuff. So I'm going to share my screen. And stop me, you guys, or jump in if I go too fast or if you don't know what I'm talking about. So here is, okay, so here is my OneNote, and these are my classes up top here. I create kind of what I call like a parent notebook for the two classes that I teach, Integrated 2 and then Integrated 1. And this is just kind of where I begin building my classes, I guess. I'll build the units before we get there, and it is very time consuming, but once it's done for the next year. So I've separated mine into semester 1 and a semester 2, and to create these, if you go to add a section, you just right click and you do a new section group, and that's kind of where you can expand and collapse the groups so that you don't have this big long list of everything. So I'm just going to jump in and just show you guys one of my units, and then I'll kind of walk you guys through how I go and create it. So I'm just going to click down on this semester 2, and I'll just show you one of mine. So like here's unit 9. So kind of what I do is I create this section, and then over here on the right, I put everything that I want for that unit in my OneNote. So we always start with objectives. So they can go over here and they can rate their objectives, look at the vocabulary, and this will be like an ongoing process throughout the units. The next thing that I put in there, we always do a reflection with our kids. And most of the kids will actually do this in OneNote. I've kind of gone away from the paper INBs as much as I could so that I could use the technology. But they will do this kind of before the test. I'll assign it. The next thing I do is I put our learning resources in there. We've gone in kind of to every objective we've basically taken the Google out of searching for things, and we've searched for them, and we put our videos, websites under each objective that we have. If I do have like PowerPoints or other things that I might use, I'll put those under my learning resources as well. And this is something that I'm still kind of playing with. This one I actually put it where you can see all of the slides. So I actually did take notes on this for them so that they could see the entire notes actually in OneNote. This particular unit, I actually did put our foldable that we did in here, and they actually wrote on it. They can enlarge it and make it really big, so it's really easy for them to either write right here, they can type if they wanted to, if they have a stylus, or some of my kids just use their finger, they can sit there and they can write on the screen. So that just makes it. Go ahead.
How do you enlarge?
How do I what?
How do they enlarge it?
Oh, just the 2 fingers. Expand it on your notepad.
What if they don't have a touch screen?
Well, I'm not using my touch screen. I'm just using my little mouse pad.
Okay, so you're enlarging it with your pad, with your mouse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then they can take notes here. If they have a stylus, I have kids that are actually really, really good at taking notes actually on the screen, since ours are touch screens. The next thing I do is I kind of put our warm-ups, which...
Kelsey, hang on a second.
Yep, go ahead.
Do you type these, are you uploading these as Word documents? Or,
yep.
Or do you open each one and create it yourself?
Nope, it's a Word document and it converts it to a PDF to go on here. And I'll show you that in just a second when I get to a blank one. Yeah, and this is just kind of like my thought process as I go through unit. So then I have my warm-ups, which normally I would have done kind of in our INBs, but, you know, to save paper and to, you know, they could easily write on this document or type on this document. So I kind of go through what I would use as warm-ups. The next thing I do is I kind of go through, since we're an integrated class, we're kind of out of 2 books at once. So we have a lot of worksheets. So I kind of go through every single worksheet, which is pretty time consuming. And I try to figure out like, hey, could they do that one on OneNote? Or do I need to print that one out? Like, is it something that they could do on OneNote? Or is it something that they actually like need to write on, graph on, things like that? The graphing tools on OneNote are really cool. The ruler tool up here, if you actually use it, it will only allow them to draw on the ruler. So it creates a perfectly straight line every single time. It's awesome. So then the last thing that I kind of put on here is my study guide. And then I put the key right below it from the very, very beginning of the unit. So that's kind of my thought process. I am toying with the idea that Jenny gave me because all of my worksheets are not on OneNote because I do pass some out in class, but then, you know, they lose it, their dog ate it, whatever it is, and I'm trying to take those types of excuses away. And so Jenny had told me that she actually creates something like another topic right here that might say like worksheets, you know, day or week of 11-2 through 11-5 or whatever, and just puts them all on here, not as images like these ones are, but just actually puts the Word document up there where they could open it up and download it and print it from home if they want it, if they lost it or whatever. So I'm really trying to take the excuses out and put as much stuff on here so they don't lose it. And the twice exceptional kids do really, really well with this because they don't lose stuff. They love having everything in one place where they can go back to it, they can look at it, they can study from this. So that's kind of the process that I go through in setting up a unit. And again, it does take a long time. My first unit did not look like this. It had like 2 things because I got better and what worked for the kids as we went on. So to kind of set one up is all you're gonna do is add a section, title it whatever you want. So this one's pretty much blank because I never got there. Unit 14, I title it what it is. I go and I kind of put those titles in by just adding a page, and you're gonna, you know, just type in learning resources or whatever you want. I can spell. The next thing that I'm gonna do is I will then click down here and I will go to it. I'm just gonna insert a random document so you can kind of see how it goes. Let's get to my, and you guys can insert from OneNote, you guys can insert from whatever, if you guys have folders on your desktop, all of those work. So I'm just gonna click on something so you can see. So if I just wanted to click on one of the worksheets or whatever, this one. So I can open it, and then here are the options. So you can insert as an attachment, and that will literally just be the icon of the Word document where they can then download it from there. I usually do insert as a printout. When you do that, it will convert it to a PDF. It inserts it, and then here's like the critical step is you want to right click. Whoops, I can't see it. You want to right click and set this picture as the background. And what that does is they cannot delete this now. So they can now type on this, they can whatever they want, they can draw all over this, but it won't delete any, you can't delete this actual background at all. And that's super important. I didn't do that before, and the kids would backspace and the whole document goes away. So by setting it as the background, they can now type all over it. Some of my kids prefer to type everything, which in math is incredible to me, but they do it. Or they can write on it. If they do want a printout for some reason, they could go back up to the actual document right here, And if they do that, then it will actually, you open it up and they can print it out from there. So the next, after I kind of build that, and again, setting the image to the background is key because this cannot be deleted. It's the background, unless they make it not the background anymore.
So
then kind of, go ahead, yep.
Can you have more than one document back here? Do you have like a few of them back there for
I usually try to stick to just one, but you could, like I could scroll down if you wanted another document, you could just click down here and insert it on the same exact page. I usually try to do separate, but if you wanted it just all on one page, because that's like your thought for the day, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, thanks.
So then the next thing, go ahead. I didn't hear.
Sorry, are these automatically then distributed to every kid's page? And
No.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you what I do, and then I'll kind of go through the pros and cons of distributing it versus
okay, thanks.
kind of how I do it. Yeah. So the next thing I do is after I'm like, okay, I've built this, I'm good to go, is I then go over to this section and I right click, and there is an option that says move copy. So then what I do, and again, this is where you might have a different opinion if you want to run your class different, which is your classroom. So I move copy this, okay? And I'm going to just say I'm going to stick it in my third period class. Where is my third period class? Nope, right here. It was right here. So I'm going to stick it in my third period class under semester 2 content library. So in the content library, your students cannot change anything, okay? It's what I've created, and I'm sticking it there, but all they have access to do there is that they can copy it over. They cannot change anything that I have in the semester 2 content library. So I'm actually going to do this so I can show you kind of what I have the kids do. So I move it here. I'm going to copy it, not move it, copy it. So I copy it, and it takes a second. So then if I actually go to that class, I think this is the one that I copied it to. So right here. So this is under my semester 2 content library, which again, the kids cannot change anything here. So this is exactly what I just showed you guys. So then what I have the kids do, and again, this works for me. If you want to do it a different way, that works for you. I then have the kids, they can take this, and sometimes I do it as a homework assignment, or they do it in class. Each kid will do the same thing that I just did. They will move copy that entire section into their personal notebooks. So after they move and copy that, so here's just this, my first kid. So after I do that, it now will live in his notebook. So all the stuff that we've done for distance learning is here. It's exactly how I set it up. So nothing is written on, everything is blank. So if I were to, for example, click on his functions unit, this is everything that I had set up in my parent notebook. And now the kids can go in there and they can rate their objectives. I don't know what worksheet I'm clicked on, some worksheet. So, and the reason that I do it this way is because if you assign stuff through Teams, what I found, you can assign the pages, but all you can do is assign it to like Unit 7. You can't tell it where to go beyond that. So if I were to assign it through Teams, I can assign it to Unit 7, but it might not fall under Warmups or worksheets. It's just going to go down here at the bottom. And so I actually don't assign things through Teams. Like it all just lives in this OneNote. And again, I just find OneNote quicker than Teams, and this is what works for my kids because I use it both in class as well as homework. For example, Warmups. Like if you were to assign it, that's great. It's going to go here somewhere. But while they're working on it and stuff, it's not going to show up right away. And so I just leave it here. And then, we do that this night. They might walk in and I'm going to say, hey, your warm up today is under Unit 7. They know where to go and they can just start working on it. So then the second thing This is also why I don't assign them. I find that grading is quicker in OneNote. So the way that if I wanted to grade this warm up, let's just say this was my homework assignment. You'll go up here to the top where it says class notebook. Up here at the top, it says class notebook. I can click here, and then there's this option that says review student work. So if I think my camera is going to be in the way in a second, but I'm going to move it. So if I go to review student work, I can go right here, and I don't do the cross notebook review. You could, that just lets you view more than one class at a time. But if I go to review student work, it takes a minute. I can go into any unit that I have there. I think I was under functions. Go to next, and then I can select the specific page that I want. Okay, or it's not gonna load right now because it's awesome. Yeah, so that's, you know, the technology. But once you do that, maybe I'll pick something else. Let's see. If it'll work. It comes up with everything that's under that specific unit, and I can select that page, and it will bring up every single student, and you can quickly click through their names.
That's awesome.
Great. It's not working. Of course it's not. Yeah, I'll try one more. I don't know why it's not. This is the technology piece.
Well, you just added something to it, so it might be syncing. I wonder if
you're right. It could be syncing right now.
Go to a different class and see if that works.
I can try that. Let's see. But it does make it really easy to grade. So if I go to review student work, it's not going to work. Watch. So let's just do like an old one.
Yeah, look at that.
I know. It's just like normally this. Oh,
there you go.
Well, normally everything will show up right there. I don't know why only one thing is showing up because it's technology and I'm presenting right now. So then you go to next, and what it does, oh, apparently this only person did it. But anyways, all of your kids will be there, and you can click on their name, and it just immediately takes you to that kid's page. And then you could click on the second person's name, and it takes you to that page. Again, I don't know why it's not syncing right now, but
see, how do you handle feedback to the kid? Do you type on the page?
I usually type on the page, yes.
So
yes.
Do they go back and look at it?
Yeah, I make them, yes. Yeah. It'll be like one of their warm-ups one day to go back and look at it. Yeah.
Kelsey, are you always working online, not on the app as you're doing this? Because I just tried it on the app. And
I'm on the app.
Obviously, I'm looking at writing, not math, but it should work the same way.
Yes, it should. Yeah. But I just find the review student work, and again, it's been slower since everybody's been on this for distance learning as well. I mean, but normally you go to whatever one I've selected. It'll bring up all of the pages that we created. So like I could click on like domain and range practice or whatever, that one page, and you can quickly click through each kid. And then, you know, type right on OneNote is what I usually do to give them feedback. I just find that faster than assigning the pages through Teams, because every time I tried it through Teams, it just sat there and spun and spun and spun and spun.
So it's the OneNote app versus the Teams app that you're using, is that correct? And you can't look at sections, you can only look at pages?
I don't know. I think it's just a page, in a section. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't think, because right here, these are all my sections that are under review student work.
Right.
And so then you have to click on that and then go to next, and then it'll bring up pages in that section.
Okay, and I've let the kids create their own pages, so it's not working. So that's why. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then my other question is, you then lock the pages. You don't let kids add any other pages. Or can they add their own pages?
Once the section is in their notebook, they totally could add other sections. Okay. Yeah. Like I have some kids that actually like to take their notes on this. So they'll add a section at the bottom and they'll type like in class instead of writing notes. And that was kind of the next thing that I was going to get through. I'm not like, I've messed with a couple of ways to do notes this year. One is where I've actually, written on the OneNote page. Like I didn't do this one as a printout, but if I had, I might actually write on the OneNote page and then it stays there so that they can all see it. Another thing that I've done is, and then this is what I did at the beginning of the year, and then it kind of fell off. I don't know why, it didn't follow through. But in the collaboration space, and again, it's kind of a balance of technology and also having them take their own. Right up here, I had them take notes and then somebody would upload their notes. And they got points for uploading their notes to that specific. So I don't know. I kind of have played with a couple and I don't know the best answer still for notes.
So Kelsey, if you take notes, do you take notes in the content library and that automatically goes over?
Nope, but they can go back and see it.
I get
in
it.
the content. Yeah. So like I would take it, like I'd actually go into my functions unit, on semester 2, and I would take notes right on that page. It doesn't transfer. It doesn't transfer to theirs, but they could go back and see it.
Okay, or they could copy it over.
Totally. Yes, absolutely. Yes. So that's kind of how I work it. And again, the kids really did like the opportunity to upload their notes. Like that day, they did a really good job, and some of them color coded it and did a way better job that day. It's just kind of a balancing act on, I don't know what's better. Like I'm still learning this, and then we got cut off this year. So I was messing with some more ideas. So it just, I don't know what the best way for notes is yet, because I want to try to put as much on here as I can, because then it just, they seem not to lose it. I mean, they can't lose it. It's there. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not sure with the notes, but I do find grading easier this way. Of course, it's not working right now, but I do find grading easier this way than Teams. Every time I tried to use it in Teams, it just sat there and spun. For Teams, all I do is I will post the key for the assignment that day. So it'll say like, homework tonight is, whatever it is in your OneNote, if it is a OneNote page, and then I would post the key. And for me, what they're doing on Teams is when they turn it in, it means that they've checked their work. And I actually have them write, like I missed number 10, or I try to have them write something about their homework. What's really cool, I have some really good kids that will sit there. And so like, this is a girl, and this is awesome too with OneNote, is here's her page, and she's able to highlight things and show different colors, and then it lives here and it's here, which is really cool because they can go back and they can look at it later. I have a lot of kids that, and again, I need to do a better job of this next year, but I was learning kind of as I went along. The kids will go and they'll circle their wrong answers and then write in the correct answers after they've checked their work, actually on OneNote in a different color, which is pretty cool too. So it's just been a learning process, but that's kind of where I'm at. And the kids seem to really like the fact that it's all in one place and they can go back to it and, relearn if they need to. So
Kelsey, when you set up that collaboration one, can you set up sections where sometimes the kids can access it and sometimes they can't?
No, in the collaboration space in OneNote, they can always add to it.
Nope.
Always.
Unless you set up, I have set up folders. You can give different permissions in the collaboration space.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can set up, like I've set up groups, like when we did the mathematical practices. Each group had a practice, and that particular page in the collaboration space was assigned only to them.
Oh,
and,
okay.
And you have to do that in OneNote and then you click on something like Manage Notebooks, and then there's collaboration space permissions somewhere. Sometimes
okay.
I can find it, sometimes I can't. But it's it isn't. But it's a pretty
Yeah, the manage notebooks up here.
yeah. And it'll take you to. There's a little thing that'll say collaboration space permissions.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you can even have. I've even had in one. I have small classes. I've had it where I've had each kid has their own page in the collaboration space, and they're the only ones that have permission to edit it. But everybody else, the kids can. Everybody else can see it, but they can't edit it. Cool.
Right. Well,
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So you're working just in OneNote. Do your kids access OneNote, the notebook from their team, and then you just open it on the desktop? I mean,
they just open it in the OneNote app.
Oh, and then how are they added to that notebook?
Oh, okay. So you have to first open the notebook, yes, through Teams for it to be on your OneNote. Yes.
And then it's in your OneNote. So when you go to OneNote, you see the list of teams there.
Yes.
The list of notebooks there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
know to open it in OneNote and don't go to Teams.
And we have technology issues in the classroom. Like sometimes one kids won't sync, so people are like, open it in the app. Okay, now it's still not syncing. Open it in the browser. So like we go through those technology issues too. And I mean, they're better than me most of the time. They're like, have you tried this? Did you open it through Teams? Did you open it through the app? So, but the first time, yes, in order to get your class to show up in OneNote, they have to open it up through Teams.
Got it.
Yes. Yeah.
Great.
I'm going to stop sharing now. But that's just kind of my process. And again, it's not like perfect. I'm still learning, but the kids really seem to be able to like going back and forth, and they really like having everything there, and it's nice. Yeah.
When you're making your master, saved year to year, because in Teams it goes away after like a year or two. So I was just wondering, how are you saving?
This is my master though, in my personal OneNote.
Okay.
So from what I know, it better not go away because it's a lot of work.
I have notebooks I've had for years that are in there, still in there. As long as you create your own, it's not your classes, it's your own notebook. It shouldn't go away.
And then you
so like we can start setting up for next year. We can start creating notebooks for classes, even though we don't have assignments to them yet.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And you do that in OneNote.
In OneNote, yes.
I'm doing that with my science class right now. I'm building it in OneNote. Just copy it over from year to year.
It's really nice because then the next year, that didn't work. Like let me take that one out. Like it's so easy to have that parent one, and then it's all there for next year. Like it's hard work the first year, but now I'm just gonna have to go back and tweak and fix stuff, but it's there. And
with distance learning, we don't know what's going on. So the more that we can have ready to go digitally, I think the better shape we're going to be.
Totally.
And then that keeps you from having to touch their Jeremy papers.
Yes.
Time.
Yeah. I'm just trying to, there is a balance between the paper and the OneNote, but I especially in middle school, like they can't hold on to a paper like for more than 5 minutes. And so just having it all there, and I'm just trying to, again, take away, some of the excuses that we hear. Well, I didn't know this. I didn't have notes on that. Well, it's all there. So, the PowerPoints that I go through in class are there. All the videos that we use or whatever are all there. So it's all in one place.
It's great.
You had mentioned that you assign it. How do you assign it to through OneNote? How do you assign things?
So I don't assign things through OneNote. What I will do is on Teams, like I'll create an assignment. I'll say, like your homework is, worksheet, whatever on OneNote, and then I will post the key.
Okay.
In Teams.
And then
so I don't assign it through OneNote just because I found that the grading took longer.
Okay.
Or so through Teams, sorry.
So when the students come in, you sort of you indicate like on the board where they need to be. Okay.
Yeah. No, they're so like they open their laptops. It's like, go to Warmups, and they're on there working. Yeah.
You use the computer most of the time, so your kids are screen time the whole time. You don't have any.
Not the. Yeah, not the whole time, but I mean, they use it just as a notepad, like just like they're writing in a journal. So, because ours flip back. Ruth, yours should do that too, right? This year? Yeah, like ours flip back and they just lay it flat as a tablet and just are writing on it that way. Yeah. I don't think yours do that, Jenny, right?
No.
No.
Yeah. So we're kind of at an advantage, I guess, in that point, because it really is just like a notebook that they can write
Yeah,
on.
ours flip, just like you guys do.
Yeah.
Also, are they writing with a stylus then when they use it that way?
Yes.
Yeah, ours have
Some of them use their finger because they don't like the stylus. But again, I will say that I've gotten better at this because I think I do have an advantage. They're able to flip them and they really just make them, I mean, it's a notebook. Like they flip them and they write on it just like they're writing on a notebook. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you find did your kids lose the stylus a lot? Because I've heard some teachers say the kids lost the stylus rather quickly or broke.
Yes, that did happen. And then they either wrote with their finger or a bunch of them found like super cheap ones somewhere that seemed to still work. So, because the HP ones are expensive, I heard. Okay. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Or I don't know, one kid told me that he taped tinfoil to his pencil and it worked. So I don't know. That's probably not very safe, but it worked. So,
Kelsey, do you have any students that don't want to use it as a notebook, and how do you?
There's a couple that don't like writing on and what they do is they'll print it out and they write on it and they will take a picture of it and then they'll upload it to either Teams or OneNote, either one. I like it in OneNote just because that's where I grade, but some of them attach it to the actual Teams assignment. So either way, I mean, I can show you guys one kid who prints it out every single time because he does not. And I mean, that's fine. I mean, they have that option, but at least it all is still there. But yeah, he prints it out every single time. I think it's Declan. Not that one. Let me see. Oh, he does it for the warm-ups in class. But nope. Oh, of course he's not, the one that I can't find is not going to be on there. But anyways, he does print them out and then he just puts his picture on top of it. So like that. So he actually just prints it out and then he puts his picture right on top of it. So, and I prefer it in OneNote just so that, because that's where I grade, but some of them will upload their picture to Teams. So.
Do you, do they still use an actual notebook in class? Do some of them?
I make them all have a notebook. Yeah. So again, that's kind of where I'm still trying to figure out, what works, because sometimes they totally do need to just write in their notebooks. And so they still have a notebook. I don't really do like the interactive notebooks like I used to because I have most of it on OneNote, but they will still take notes. And that's kind of where I'm still struggling is with the notes. Like, is it best to hold one kid accountable and they upload them, instead of always being my notes, I guess, on there. And that's kind of where I'm at, is the struggle with that.
I think one of the things that I've been thinking about is that if we do something like this and you haven't done it before, that there's going to be some training with your classes. And Kelsey had 3/4 before she couldn't do this anymore. If we're in a position where we have to start the year, then some of that training may take a little bit more time and effort than what we know of. And we may have to think about that a little bit.
Yeah, I've been on my Zoom meetings, I've been showing them almost every time where to find stuff, how to find, how to copy it over if they want to, giving them more and new ideas for turning in their assignments and things like that. I would really like to streamline it, but if we're not going to go back to school right at the beginning, that just adds more complexity to it for sure.
Well, I think we can still do it. I think you have to think about how you do it, and maybe it's in tiny steps. So one day you say, okay, everybody, this is what I want you to do, and you show them how to copy that over. One day you
Right.
say, okay, this is a document now in OneNote, and I want you to practice writing on it. You know, some things like that, so they get accustomed to it. I think we could do it, but I think we're going to have to think carefully if we don't have the luxury of face-to-face right away.
Right. And, you know, more and more students are asking me, can I do my assignments in OneNote now? And I'm all for it. So I'll have a one-on-one Zoom with them and say, okay, this is how you do it. This is how I write on things. This is how you can write on it. It seems to work really, really good.
Yeah, I just think most of them like it because they can't lose it. I think that's
true.
Really why they end up liking it. I mean, I still do have those few kids that want to print it out and they want to write on it every single time. But when we're in class, they still work on their computer. So, but again, I taught them how to do all of that. Like we did the whole first unit together. We did the whole second, like bring this up. And so by semester 2, they were all trained with where to go. And I mean, so it was the distance learning with how we rolled it out was really easy for them. So.
Do they access their class notebook through Teams or just through the OneNote?
Mine usually just access it through OneNote. Yeah.
Once they open it up through Teams.
Yes.
Because you have to do it the first time.
The first time has to be through Teams. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Kelsey, another thing,
Yep.
I use Teams a lot just to like update students and things like that with what's going on. Do your kids check Teams regularly, even though they're doing everything in OneNote?
Every day. Yeah. Because I will still I'll just share my Teams. So I still post on there every single day. So here was our distance learning 18, which I apparently made a ton of errors on my key. So it wasn't even funny. I don't even know how I added, oh man, it was bad. So they all, 11 replies for my errors. So what I do is I do create the assignment still, but in the assignment, all it is they're checking their work. My key is attached. They're doing the work in OneNote though.
Okay.
And then they're expected to still take this assignment and they're expected to turn it in. And by turning it in, what it means to me is that they've gone on there and they've checked their work. And again, we practice that in class a ton before, and I would say, okay, we didn't do this right. You just click turn in. Did you really check your work? Because you have the wrong answer to number 5, or whatever it is. And so turn in for me means that they have checked their work. They've gone through it. They've told me I've made mistakes like all those kids did a second ago. So
right. Okay.
I am posting daily on Teams, and it's the key though. I mean, basically.
That makes sense.
And then you can go back into their OneNote to see their work, right? So that's what you would do.
Yeah, I grade it through OneNote. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Anybody else have questions? Well,
Thanks, Kelsey. That makes a whole lot of sense. I appreciate it.
Say it again, Ruth.
I know, you cut out.
Oh, sorry, I said thank you. I learned a lot today, and this will help me as we're trying to go one-on-one where you guys already are.
And again, some of what I do might not work for you, and it's just playing with it to figure out what works for you and your kids. My kids seem to like almost everything in OneNote, just so that if they do lose a page or whatever, and that's kind of where I'm going to take, I think Jenny's thing, I'll add another section, worksheets that I actually passed out in class, where they could then download those if they did lose them and put those in OneNote. So, yeah, still learning.
Unless they say they can't upload things, or I did it and it didn't upload. There's always that too. That's the only
but
problem.
you know what?
Not in OneNote though, usually.
Okay, that's
why I prefer OneNote over Teams. Is the only thing with OneNote is if I go to grade it and let's say theirs is blank, their notebook might not have sank yet. Is the only thing I'm kind of, but there's not uploading issues. It's not. Okay. It's just that it might take a while to sync, and so that's why I kind of, when it's due, I might not grade it, that same exact minute. So, because it does
Or
take some
open it
time
in
for
the
them to sync.
browser and then
Yeah,
you get it if you open
exactly.
it in the browser.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the kids are really good. They're like, they like the black screen or whatever. I don't like the nighttime mode on their computer or whatever. And then they write in white and I can't see it. And I'm like, you guys, and so I give them a missing and they're like, but I did it. And I'm like, show me. And they're like, oh, well, I'm in black mode. And I'm like, I can't see it. It's blank. It's missing. And they're like, well, you can just change your screen to night mode. No, I'm not doing that. I don't have that time. Sorry. So then they'll just show me right there. But I'm like, you need to pick. We found out, I think gray works. So it'll still show on my end, but they can still have their nighttime vision thing, whatever. Yeah. So, yeah. But I don't know. I just like it all in one place and, you know, kind of taking the excuses away from the kids of, I lost that. I can't find that. So, and the parents really seem to like it too. When I've sat down at parent meetings, they're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Like the notes are there. This is there. Like, and so.
Question, Kelsey, does it sync a lot better when they're on a school server, or will it typically sync from home?
It syncs from home too. Yeah. Yeah. You're saying hi.
It's so big since last year.
Yeah.
Kathleen, how did you deal with your web resource and OneNote? Are you putting that on there? I know we had talked about that before.
You know, I've been trying. Am I muted? I'm muted. No.
No, you're
No,
okay.
you're not.
You're good.
Sorry, I lost my internet and then I had to reset it and so I'm back. I'm certainly going to now that I know how to do it in OneNote, and then I can copy it over and I can invite people to the OneNote. So I'm definitely going to do that over the summer and have everything there, because you know the big thing that I see, you know, as somebody who teaches all the subjects, is not having it in order, right? You go, you know, people say there's all these resources, and then you go and it's like not in math, everything is in order. But in a lot of places, it's like I have this entire fall folder full of stuff that I have to go through, and I don't know how to deal with it. So it's really, really helpful for new teachers coming in to have it all. That was what made math easy for me, was the folders were all organized and labeled. So I knew we do this, we do this, we do this. And so I'm gonna at least get that done for 6th grade for ELA for next year.
And another thing I've done too is done like flipped lessons on sub days in OneNote.
Right.
So we'll say like, you know, like watch this movie, you know, do these problems or take some notes, you know, watch this, and it's all in OneNote. So then they can just kind of do the whole thing there. And the subs like, this is the easiest class ever to watch. So.
Are we able to share between teachers? Like if, you know, so we can share. So if Kathleen's creating 6th grade, she can share that with our new 6th grade teacher potentially. And
yeah, all you have to do, and I've done it with Kelsey, and she shared her notebook with me for a distance learning. All I had to do is go in and copy her folder into my own content library, and everything was there in the right order. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can't, you know, even if you have even if you have links to the stuff that's in SharePoint, it's not the same, because the links get moved and then they're dead. And it's just having it all there and visual and right there is so much easier.
Okay, well, let's talk more about how to do the web resource stuff, because
we'll do that. Let's I'll email you and maybe we can have our own chat about ELA.
That'd be great. Thank you.
We want to organize it because, you know, again, coming up, we don't know if we're going to see our kids 2 days a week, 3 days a week, 1 day a week, and then they're going to be doing distance learning. So having it ready to go, at least, you know, if everybody's there all the time and everything's good, then it's still a good way to run it. But if it's not, then, you know, oh my gosh, this is going to make it so much easier.
So Kelsey, you guys all know Kelsey, you can email her if you have questions. I'm going to pray that this recording actually renders. It takes a while. It's going to render. And then we'll see if I can email it to you guys. If I can't email it to you guys, we'll see if I can upload it to my YouTube channel, and I'll send you the link.
Sounds good.
So thanks, Kelsey. We really appreciate it. Thanks everybody for coming and participating. I hope you got a lot out of it. I did. I have a whole page full of notes.
Well, and Jenny, do you want me to send my outline that I had to you, and you can send it with the recording?
Sure. Well, I have the outline.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll send that too.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you, ladies. That was
All
great.
right. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Kelsey. Thank you, Jenny.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Kelsey.
We're glad y'all
Bye.
came.
Thank you. It's good seeing you.
It's
You
good
too.
seeing you. All right.
I think we're good.
Yep. Thanks you guys for coming.
Yeah.
I'm going to close this. Oh, I got to stop the recording.